Final Food Tours here in Barcelona. And this is actually our first video. A lot of our guests have requested and always would like to take a recipe back home with them so they can take a little piece of Spain. And so we decided to go ahead and do a video series on a lot of the recipes that are from Barcelona, Catalonia, and as well as all of entire Spain. So come with me on this wonderful journey. You guys are going to learn something wonderful, super tasty hopefully, and yeah, so let's go. Okay, this recipe is really super easy. Few ingredients is what I love about it. I remember this recipe as a child. My mom used to make it, so this has been in our family for, gosh, ever since I was a kid. I like a lot of potatoes in mine. It's up to you. You can use 2 or 3. I like my tortilla a little thicker, so definitely more potatoes for us. This is a large onion, so I would probably go more with a medium one, but so I'll probably end up just using about 2/3 of this, a little bit of Himalayan sea salt or whatever salt you have available, and 4 to 5 eggs. And that's really pretty much it. It's a super simple recipe, and some olive oil. And so let's get started. So I peeled my potatoes. I like to cut them kind of like this, and I tend to really like them a little bit smaller than this size, so I'll cut them down the middle that way. And then I would probably want to go ahead and cut them probably about like 1/4 inch or about 1 centimeter for my metric. You don't have to be terribly precise. And then what you'll want to do is have some cold water at the ready, because these are pretty starchy. So these are what would be like a Yukon Gold in the United States. So these are pretty plentiful here in Spain, and it is their go-to potato. So I would recommend putting them in until you kind of get everything else chopped up. It helps take out the starch that is in the potato, so it really does benefit us. So just do that to every potato, and then you'll be good to go as you're cutting and preparing everything else. All right, I'm probably just going to use half this onion, or this part anyways. I'm going to cut it lengthwise, somewhat thin, about the same thickness as the potato. And that's kind of how I like it. I'll maybe cut these guys in the middle, but that's pretty perfect. That's kind of what I'm looking for, because you want it to intertwine with the potatoes. So we're going to put this in the little bowl, and that's pretty much about the quantity you're looking for. So this will probably be more like the size of a medium-sized Spanish onion. As you saw, my onion was quite large, so I'm just going to use half of it. So we'll be good to go with that. And then we're going to show you the rest. Okay, we've got our potatoes that's been soaking. I'm going to go ahead and drain them, and then I'm going to go ahead and place the eggs inside of this once it's cooked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drain this, and I'm going to pour this into the pan with the hot oil. Fortunately, we do live in Spain, which we are the largest olive oil producer in the world, as well as for olives. So we could pick up these wonderful 2-liter olive oils for quite inexpensive. And this is a non-filtered, so you can use whatever you have on hand. Our potatoes, just so they don't splash and splatter with the water. Olive oil and water, oil and water are a good mix. So just kind of throw these guys in. Now if you can't get olive oil in this size of quantity, I know in certain parts of the world, like the United States and Canada, it might be a costly option. You can substitute vegetable oil or canola, whatever you kind of have at hand, but you can reuse this oil, which we do over and over again. You could probably use this at least 5 or 6 times for other items. So we're going to let that cook up. It takes about 10-15 minutes, so about halfway through I'm going to incorporate the onions. And at this time I'm going to kind of give them just a little hit of salt. There's 2 tablespoons or 2 teaspoons of salt here. I'm going to use about half during this process, and then when I incorporate it with the eggs I'm going to use the remainder of that. So I'm just going to kind of give them just a little hit of, not too much though. So our potatoes have been in for about 5, maybe 7 minutes. They're getting really kind of al dente, and that's kind of where you want them. So I'm going to go ahead and just throw these onions in here now. This is actually pretty good. I actually have another half of the onions, and I love onions, so you can add what you want. Now we always do tend to add, this is the base of a tortilla. So what that means is from here you can add whatever you have at hand in your vegetable pantry. So if you want to get rid of maybe some old broccoli or some spinach, if you have ham and cheese like a Swiss cheese, this just basically let yourself kind of go. This is a great little thing. My wife and I we have these in our home at least twice a week. They are nice to have because you leave them outside. You don't really put them back in the refrigerator. You leave it outside at room temperature. I'm gonna probably add a little bit more. And so you leave them outside and you snack on these for a day or so, and you can just cover them with like one of those cake glass covers, and it's fine. It's you can serve it at room temperature or hot. You can microwave it, but not too much, because we're going to leave this kind of gooey in the center, and you're going to see when we cut into it. I like it a little bit undercooked, so it gives a little bit more creamier on it. So this is, you can see how soft the onions are getting. I'm going to leave the onions in the pool, as it were, for probably a couple more minutes. It gives you can see how kind of soft the potatoes are. My chopsticks went right through it. So we don't want them too mushy, and so we're kind of getting right there. So I'm going to try to make sure we get some of these onions down in our cooking handy tool. So I have this to kind of keep the potatoes in place. It really does help. So I'm going to let this all kind of drain out. I'm going to use this oil again as soon as I incorporate it into the eggs here in just a second. So as you may know or may not know, olive oil is very good. It's filled with a lot of omega-3, so it's definitely a great oil to cook with. So if you can have access to it, I highly recommend using it as much as possible. Here in Spain, we use it for everything. I can't even remember the last time I used vegetable oil. There we go. So now we've got our potatoes ready, and I'm going to incorporate it into the eggs. So I've got the egg mixture right here. You can see I haven't really scrambled them or anything like that, and it's my intention. I like to do it this way because when I incorporate the eggs, I like to just kind of slowly put them in there, let them cool just a little bit, and then I'll add the potatoes. Again, because it's really all about the potatoes and anything else you're going to want to add. And so there we are with that. And then you can see I'm just going to basically just kind of fold it in just a little bit. Now, some of that salt I still have remaining. I'm going to incorporate that. I like some salt to my potatoes because the potatoes and the eggs, it just gives it a really nice flavor. But not too much. But I kind of know where I like my salt. So I like to spread it just a little bit high. And you can see it's kind of like a big, thick paste, almost. Now this is where you can add a little bit of cooked broccoli, maybe some spinach, some ham, or jamon, and you can just basically let your mushrooms would be great in this. There's a lot of wonderful things you can just add. So we're right there, we're set. Let's go to the cooktop and we'll continue forward. So here's our remainder of what's left of the olive oil that we originally put in. You can see there's still quite a bit, so I'm going to pour some. You can see the pan is still lubricated quite well. I'm just going to give it a little bit in there just to kind of get it nice and so it's not gonna stick to anything. That should be, give it a little bit more. You'll end up using it when you flip it over on the next side, so that's not too bad. So now that we can see it's pretty warm, or it's getting there anyways, we're gonna let this heat up for just about another 30 seconds. So here we go. There's our mixture that we made, and you just want to pour it all in there. So see the olive oil kind of pushes all that way out. See how it kind of fried all quickly? That's kind of what we're looking for. So we want to flatten this out just a smidgen. And we're going to try, as it starts to set a little bit, you're going to want to push the corners on the inside to where it will resemble a cake. Hence, you know, like a tortilla. You can see how we're getting a little cooked. We're going to probably leave it like this for about 5 minutes. Once it's kind of formed up, we're going to go ahead and put a plate on top of this. We're going to flip it over, drain a little bit of the oil so it doesn't burn us. And then we're going to put it back in there and cook it for maybe about 2 minutes, because I like to leave that little yolk inside, and you're going to see what I'm talking about. You can also add a sauce to this, which we're going to do at our next video. It's really popular here, especially down in Andalusia area. It's called whiskey sauce. So you can do tortilla con whiskey, and it's not always whiskey. It could also be used with cognac or brandy, and it's a wonderful, deep, rich sauce. We'll kind of get into that, and it really is a treat to have. But this is the simple way, so we're going to start that way right now, and then we'll kind of add this too. So if you guys want to come back and check our other link, that would be fantastic. So there we go. It's still kind of getting there. So we're going to let it cook for just a few minutes, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're right there. It's probably been about 3.5, 4 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of want to save some of that oil that you see floating around on the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this little guy right there on the top, and we're going to let this drain just a smidgen. There you go. So it hasn't been too bad. And that is the tortilla. So it's just going to cook for just a few more minutes. You can see one side got a little toasted. That's okay. I'm actually going to put it on 4. So I really at this point just want to brown the bottom. And this one's not terribly big. I would have probably used to make it all the way to the top. I probably would have used maybe 5 potatoes and maybe about 7, 8 eggs. It's usually more about the potatoes, so the more potatoes the better you are. So now this is pretty much done. So it's been cooking for probably, gosh, about I don't know, a minute and a half, 2 minutes tops. I don't like it really completely dry, kind of like my scrambled eggs. I really don't. I like a little bit of runniness to it because it gives it a little creaminess. So that's turned off. I'm gonna put it on the plate here, flip it over again. Now that, my friends, is a perfect tortilla. It's just got enough brown. The other brown part is underneath, so nobody's gonna really see it. So I'm gonna go ahead and plate this, cut this so you guys can see what it looks like on the inside, and we'll go from there. We're gonna try a bite. Super duper delicious. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this in like a little pie-shaped wedge. Let's see if I might have overcooked it. I think I did, but that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and plate it. That's pretty good. A little bit more gooey on the inside, but you can see how that really does look. And, or excuse me, not terribly dry. And that's how you want your tortilla. That is probably classic perfect. Now, for me, I like it just a little bit more runny, but that's me. You may like it, this is the perfect way. So about 4 to 5 minutes, depending on how hot you have it, on one side, and then you flip it over, and then leave it on there for anywhere from, gosh, 60 seconds to 90 seconds to maybe up to 2 minutes tops. Because it's pretty much cooked through, when you flip it over, which allows you to flip it over. And it doesn't need much after that. So we finished our tortilla. Took about 20 minutes to make. It's super simple, even with prep time. It is a really easy recipe. This is a great way to introduce yourself to Spanish cuisine. This is kind of something that you can have around the home for snacks throughout the weekend or throughout the week. It makes a great little quick sandwich, and it's wonderful for a portable road trip. So if you're going to go to the beach, which we do here in Barcelona, or want to take a hike up in the mountains, this is a fantastic way to take something along. Doesn't need to be refrigerated. The way we like to eat it here, well, in our home, we like to eat it in several ways. One of my favorite ways, my wife's favorite way as well, is to use aioli. Aioli is really big here in Catalonia. We use it a lot for, gosh, everything. It is garlic and olive oil. That's it. Now, if you add egg yolk to it, then it's garlic mayonnaise at this point. So either way, get what suits you best. If you just like mayonnaise, just use mayonnaise. It adds an extra creaminess and complexity to it. So put whatever you like. Also, you can use this as kind of like substitute for meat. So for those vegans and vegetarians, well, vegetarians out there, you can use this, put it between a baguette, put a little bit of lettuce. We grade here in Catalonia, it's called pan amb tomaca, which is bread with tomato. And you grade the tomato and you use that as your condiment. You put a little bit of olive oil on top of it, little sea salt, and that's your condiment. And so you cut the tortilla thinly sliced, you put it in there as it would be your ham or your turkey or whatever, and put some nice little arugula or some nice spring salad on there, and a little drizzle of some more olive oil, and you are really good to go. A glass of wine or a cold beer always goes down really well. So of olive oil or some aioli on top of this, because I do love it this way. And so good. And my dog, the beagle inspector, yes, quality control, is he is ready to have a sample as well. It's perfectly cooked. It is quite delicious looking, and let's have a bite. Yeah, that was really good. Really creamy. The potatoes are perfectly done. They're not too soft. You get the nice little hint of sweetness from the onion, the creaminess of the aioli. I actually mixed it with a little bit of mayonnaise because sometimes aioli is just like vampire. This is really quite delicious. I'm going to finish this off camera. My dog down here is ready to sample some of the hard work. It drives him crazy because he is accustomed to having a little snack. Do you want to come up here, buddy? No, I guess he's camera shy. All right. Well, this is Adrian. Cheers from Barcelona, Spain. We hope to see you again. If you guys have any comments, please make them down below. Subscribe. I guess I'm going to put the subscribe button up on the top. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon. Take care.